Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Breaking Bad, the board game, has a deep pedigree with a TV show that is heralded around the world and has millions of fans. We've seen Breaking Bad in Super Bowl commercials. We've seen the characters have spinoffs, and it is something that is beloved. So when there's a board game of it, it kind of perks your interest. You're saying, what am I getting myself into? So what you're getting yourself into is all-out war in combat. The players are different factions, and each of you have a kind of a different asymmetrical outlook, but really 3 people are doing the same thing, and the feds are doing something different. But you're going to have a game of trying to produce the drugs and to get up to a certain level, and the feds are trying to shut them down. So it's not really all versus one, it's all versus all. But 3 of them play similar with variable player powers, and the other one plays a tad bit differently, or at least has a different goal in mind. That all sounds wonderful, interesting, and if I could stop there, you would probably purchase this game, despite the movie steals on the artwork, which I adore and love, and I don't need anything else other than that, but I know that's a complaint for some people. Problem is that we get a take that game, and a lot of the things just comes down to, can you take that and play a card and you bust somebody up? There is some cooperation about having your chemist in certain locations with other people. I think those short alliances do happen somewhat, but take that games, they're not a favorite of mine. In addition, this has a lot of negotiation in it, and that's not a strong suit of mine either for enjoyment of the game. I tend to play with certain groups where those aspects don't work that great, and unfortunately it leaves me in a Breaking Bad universe of having a game that I do not enjoy. On top of that, I do not feel that this game is very well designed either. I think it has a lot of play problems, and it relies on maybe lazy design work here instead of more interesting things that could bring us in. There is a lot to like about this game. I like all the different characters and factions. Playing the feds is different and plays differently, and all the asymmetrical nature of this game is wonderful. But then it just they kind of hit. It's almost like they had enough time. They thought they had a great time. They did all this work up front, and on the back end of the game, it just feels rushed and not very good. I know they're going for a mass market. I know they're going for a wider audience here, but that doesn't mean you have to dumb the game down, which is what I believe is going on here. Too much luck, too much take that, not enough good decisions, not enough in that circle of I want to come back and play this again. I absolutely do not, and it's one I would not recommend. It will be a purge for me. Here's Breaking Bad, the board game. Now, this is a version I haven't played yet. I played a friend's copy a few times, but I wanted to showcase my copy here. You're going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes, and they're going to get some tiles. Now, all the tiles in the game are fairly thick. These are fairly nice little tiles that you're going to have in the game. You're going to have these boards that will be out. They're nice. I don't have any problems with these. They say Breaking Bad on them. They sit right on the board just fine. Now, everybody's going to have these player boards. They're a little bit thinner, probably about what you'd expect, because they're just going to be sitting on the board. You're going to have different factions by the color and different people by the screenshot. So here's Mike, here's Lionel and Marco. You're going to get Hank. You're going to get Walter White, Steve Gomez. You're going to get Gus, Tuco, and Jesse, of course. And that'll be the characters you have. 2 for each faction, so you can play up to 8. You're going to get these. These are going to be the big selling point you're going to have in the game. These are going to be the blue sky. You are going to get some baggies that will be in here, and you're going to have decks of cards. Now, all of the cards are going to have numbers on them with some text, which is fine, and screenshots. You can see they do repeat for the same card, and you have screenshots from the show. I know some people don't like screenshots or something that doesn't bother me. I actually like screenshots. It's the show. I want to see it on my games. But I know some people are going to have that. They'll kind of insert in the box. That's fine. It's a mass market game. I wish the cards were a little bit better quality. They are rounded corners. But let them finish on them would have been nice. But it's a mass market game, so it is what it is. Here is the rule book for Breaking Bad. So another screenshot you're going to have. They're really cool looking. You have a picture of all the components here, object of the game, and setup. Setup is going to lack a picture for it, but it's going to kind of break it down into little sections about how you're going to play the game. Then you're going to have the diagram here of everything with numbers corresponding to it. Normally, I like this all like one page, but it wouldn't all fit. So playing the game over here. Now, one thing's going to be nice, it's going to give you an overview. This is the entire game of what you're going to be doing in it for the most part. And it's going to break down each option with pictures, and you're going to have examples of how you go through it and each of the things that you're going through about playing the cards and how they work. I found all this to be very, very, very easy to kind of read. Mass marketing, I think, is a lot, but eliminated from the games is a big no-no in this one. And then the end of the game scoring. I think it has some card clarifications, abilities, etc., and a little bit of a reference on the back. The rulebook was fine to me. I didn't see a lot of complaints online about it. We didn't really have any issues. Things are going to pop up on the cards, of course. That's why there's a little bit of a clarification. And you may struggle with A when somebody else didn't, so it didn't make the clarification. But I don't think it's too difficult of a game to learn from the rulebook. Probably need about 15, 20 minutes to get through this, and you should be good. Is it long? It's a little bit longer than, maybe it needs to be for the type of game, but they do go into detail, and I never get upset over details. Like, that's fine. I can skip it later if you need to. And everything you need really is right here. One of the first things you're going to do in the game is figure out who you want to be. Everybody's going to pick a character. But as you can tell, there's 2 characters of each type that you can choose from, which may not be your favorite character. I don't know who liked Marco and Tuco the best. So you might get the raw deal. Now, you need to have at least somebody from each of the factions. So if 2 people want to be these guys, you're going to need at least a 5-player game in order to accomplish that, because you want to make sure that it's even. So you can't play without the DNA, or you play without somebody from the yellow faction, Los Polos. You're going to need one from each, and spread it out as much as possible. If you're playing a game with just 2-player and you want just these 2 guys, it's not really going to work out. So that's what you're going to do. Each player's going to have a special ability that's going to make them a little bit unique. They'll have a different starting cards and a different blue sky that they're going to start out with that you will see on each of the cards. And I'm just giving the briefest of overviews here. We're not going to go super deep into this game. Each faction is going to start off with their own labs that they will have during the game. Once all of your labs are eliminated, you cannot win. And that's what the DEA is trying to do. They're trying to eliminate all of the labs that are going to be here. And then the criminal factions are going to sell a number of blue sky based on the player count. Each faction is also going to have their own deck of cards that they'll be able to play with. So when you say draw a card, you'll be drawing it from your own individualized deck that you're going to have in the game. On your turn, you must do 2 actions. You can do the same action more than once. One action might be just to draw a card. You also might be playing a card. Now, when you play cards, sometimes they're going to have requirements up here in the top left that you would have to meet, either danger value or have enough blue sky in order to meet that. So you will play these cards, initiate a gunfight or counterattacker's gunfight. A lot of these are take that cards or block. Place this card in an opponent's character slot. This character loses 1 hit point at the beginning of each of his turns. So just little things that will mess up the plans of the other players. Another action you can take is to take one of your special abilities. When you play a hospital card, you may apply its effect twice. That's passive. Once per turn, you may look at another player's hand. Does not count as an action. So his don't even count as an action. Let's look at Tuco's. During your turn, if you catch another player crossing your eyes, you may randomly discard 1 card from his hand. As an action, here's where the action is going to come in. Recover 1 by spending 2 blue sky from your stash. Another action you can take that's very important is to play a chemist card, and you'll place them on a lab. When you occupy a lab with the chemist, immediately produce 3 blue sky. As an action, produce 3 more. So if I placed him there, I would be able to produce 3 of these. That would go on my chart here. And then as an action, say my second action for the turn, I could produce 3 more. So what people are going to be doing is they're going to try to attack your chemist and get these off. Now you can also create alliances with other players, and they can play a chemist to your lab, etc. But then another action you do is take a chemist off. So you can take this one off if you don't like him as much, or if somebody's borrowing your lab and you want to get rid of them, you can take them off, and that's an action. The last action you can take is you could sell. So if you want to sell one, you take 1 off here, and you put it into your stash, and this is where you're going to be accumulating your victory points to win the game. A number of these, and you'll be able to win. For each action, you can take 1 off the main board and put it on your player board. After performing your 2 actions, you can then optionally choose to do 1 extra action by paying 2 of your blue stash. That's something you do. You can discard 2 cards from your hand, or you can lose 1 of the health that you have here in order to perform an additional action. The last thing I kind of want to point out is the player elimination. If you lose all of your health, then you can be eliminated from the game. If you're the last one standing, then you will win. Or if you meet the requirements from the blue sky, or the DEA shuts down all of the labs, then they win. And that's a quick overview of how you play the game. A lot of it's going to be take that cards, producing, stealing, hurting the other players, and so forth until you meet the game requirements. Should I buy this game? Not really. There's some antiquated things in here like losing a turn and player elimination and take that, and it just has a lot of the negative things that I thought had been burned from the existence of board gaming, and it's still in here. Yet, let me be clear from the highest of mountaintops, this is the best Breaking Bad game on the market. There is no other game. There is nothing else, unless maybe there's a Monopoly variant out there, that even comes close. So if you're wanting a Breaking Bad, the board game, this is your only option. Otherwise, I would tell you to run, scream, and get out of town, because this is not a game that you'd want to play.